Our weed of the week is Burr cucumber.
And thankfully we don't have it on our farm yet, but it's one of the worst weeds across the country. It's rated as one of the top 10 worst weeds. Now, when you think about it, what makes it such a challenge? Well, it's a vine. And anytime you have a vine, it's really tough to get a contact herbicide to hit every growing point. And you're gonna get part of the plant, but not all of the plant, and that's a challenge. The other thing with Burr cucumber is it often comes up late in the season. So many times we'll see weed control looks great in the field, and all of a sudden we catch some more rains in August, which are a nice thing in crops like soybeans, but all of a sudden we get more Burr cucumber coming back. So what can we do to get residual control and hold it throughout the season?
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up residual, because with those vines, a lot of times Roundup just isn't the best. Some of the contact killers, because you have to have this great coverage, they aren't the best. So we do want these residual products out there. Now in corn, we would say Balance Flex is probably the best thing you can use, although Verdict with that Sharpen in there is not too bad. In soybeans, we're gonna really want to see a Metribuzin out there, the old Sencor. So our favorite choice would be Authority MTZ. And then when we talk about wheat and a residual herbicide, we'd like to use Pre-Emerge Sharpen. If you do those things, you start with the good residual, then your post-emerge product doesn't have to do so much work.
All right, well, post-emerge in wheat, I like Husky. Addition Broadspec has been a nice tank mix partner in many of the different combinations that get used. In soybeans, Cadet and Cobra, those kind of burners get used a lot. I also like the STS chemistry if you've got an STS tolerant variety. I like things like Classic and Synchrony as well. First Rate does have some activity too. In corn, well, you've got a lot of choices there, but I think the ones with the longer residual, something like an Impact, Lotus, Callisto, with some atrazine if you can, is a great way to go. And then of course, if you've got Liberty Link crops, you can use Liberty. As Brian mentioned, Roundup, maybe this isn't the best weed for Roundup.
Well, Burr cucumber shouldn't be that difficult a weed to control because it's just an annual, it's a summer annual. But like Darren said, when it does come up later in the season, when you can't get that good spray coverage on it, and especially if you don't use a good residual program, yeah, it can be a really difficult one, and it does seem to be spreading across the country.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week's weed, but Iron Talk is coming up next.